accessibility needs met through a structured intervention is something very critical, because the pace at which IIM runs is really fast paced, right? All of us know it.
Hello everybody, my name is Michael Sequeira. I'm PGP batch of 2010. I joined IIM Bangalore in 2008. I did the 2-year PGP program. For all of you today, we are talking to Swati T P. Swati is based in Bangalore. She's happily married. Her parents are very proud of her. She's an inspiration to all of us at IIM Bangalore. She is an inspiration to society at large. We're going to talk to Swati today about her journey at IIM Bangalore. We're going to focus in terms of the Institute's support from the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, earlier the Office of Disability Services. We're going to talk about her interests beyond IIM Bangalore and what she does for our students. We're also going to learn about her growing up years. So welcome Swati, I'm extending a hand to you. Friends, for the introduction, Swati is partially visually impaired. She has optic atrophy, and she lives an independent life today where she's going to share moments in her life where possibly her growing up years, the challenges she faced, how did the disability happen to her, and she's going to talk more about it. So Swati, over to you. Please tell us about your growing up years and what life was growing up as a child.
Firstly, thank you so much for having me here, Mike. I think talking about childhood, it was a happy one, joyful one, like anybody else would have. So I was born with normal eyesight, very loving family, parents and sister, and an extended family as well. So literally was the apple of the eye for the entire family. Again, when it came to academics, I excelled in academics. I excelled in extracurricular activities. You name it, any competition, I would be there. I would be in leadership roles for being a house captain or the sports captain at school. And then over and beyond that, I played throw ball. I was in the district level throw ball competitions as well, athletics as well. So pretty much life was going jolly well all through childhood. And I was about 16 years old when I lost my eyesight, and this was due to an autoimmune disorder that led to optic atrophy in both my eyes. So that's how I lost my eyesight, but pretty much didn't let it define my life.
Swati, I've captured your moment. I'm understanding that, you possibly had a very growing up, a very cherished childhood. Your parents would have played a role in your childhood. Obviously, do you have any siblings? Do you want to narrate incidents where possibly they have played a larger role in your life? Because this is your moment, but this is also their moment. If you could tell us a bit more about your parents, how are they, and your family support. Tell us about also the condition that you developed during your 10 boards, because I do know that this was a trying time, this was a testing time, and while society at large would have been, had an opinion, how did your parents really support you? Tell us more about it.
So absolutely, Michael, I think parents had a very huge role to play. So it was all of this happened while I was in grade 10, right? So it's not like you are very old or you're very matured at that age, and at the same time it's seen as a very turning point for everybody in terms of their education and stuff, right? So it was my board exams that were going on, and I'd given about 6 papers, ICSE boards, and I was left with 5 more papers, and that's when I initially developed double vision, and then that kind of aggravated, and then I was admitted to the hospital, and I kind of lost my eyesight due to rapid deterioration in a span of 72 hours. So it took us quite some time, like at least a month, to even diagnose and understand what was going wrong, because this was an autoimmune disorder and I had to go through multiple diagnostics to try and understand what was going on. And I had reached a stage where even my survival was questioned, because I could not eat, I could just swallow some liquids, and literally I was not well. I lost my body balance, my neck wouldn't stand, I could not balance my neck, couldn't even get up or sit. One part of my the right hand was paralyzed and the left leg was kind of paralyzed. So it was not paralysis, because if it's a stroke, it happens on one side of the body. But for me, it was the other way around. So from then on, journeying to what I am today, to recovery, I think I would give a lot of credit to my entire family. Firstly, my parents and sister, of course, but over and beyond, I think the entire extended family, right? My parents, siblings, and all of them, my grandparents. I think it was a lot of meditation as well, because that was when I met with my spiritual guru also. So I would say it's a mix of a host of things that helped me recover. And while the phase itself was very difficult, acceptance of disability didn't come easy, Mike. So it took me like at least a good 2 years to understand that it was a disability. Because we all thought it was a temporary phase, and it's like a fever, you recover soon. So we almost thought I would come back. But at any point in time, my parents never let me down, right? So they wanted to always fill in enormous strength in me, and they wanted me to believe no matter what, I'm still what I am, right? So they still pushed me hard to do things independently to whatever extent was possible. Um, and then they didn't really restrict me, right? So wherever the family went, I was hanging around with them, and I still had some bunch of friends who were really close to me and who were really caring. So I think I started developing my own new world within which I started living, a set of people who are very caring and who understood my situation and who helped me grow.
So you've got a very powerful story. Swati is telling us about a time in her 10 boards when she lost her vision, right? And most of us wouldn't be able to cope with it. But today she's sitting in IIM Bangalore. But let me share something with all of you. Swati is also a gold medalist from the Bangalore University. She's got not one, not two friends, but 4 gold medals from Bangalore University. And a BCom, and this is, if I get it right, 654 colleges. But let's listen to Swati in terms of now fast forward to those days and what made her mind, conquer her body. Because there would be moments when the world looking at her would possibly say that she can't do it, but she's got 4 gold medals. So let's listen to the from Swati firsthand in terms of, where her mind is without fear, right, Swati? Tell us more about your years where, you studied at Bangalore University and your time when you really became the brilliant person you are today.
Mike, when I lost my sight, it was March. Like I said, it was during the time of exams. And up until October, November, I think I had to just spend time recuperating my health, right? So I had to learn to, again, my neck balance and then slowly rise up to walking and everything else. Like literally, I had to relearn everything in life. And by November, I think my parents, it was one of my aunts, I want to credit it to her. She was the one who nudged us and said, now you've got to do something about your academics as well, right? Now that I could not read a book, I suddenly developed aversion towards studies. I said, no books around me. And, I got into that state now when I can't read, obviously I'm hurt and all of that. But then my family pushed me back, and I had my guru who also said it's really important for me to continue my education. So it was by November, and then I had I enrolled as a private student for one of the schools nearby. And then I signed up for 10th state syllabus exam because ICSE still needed a mandatory attendance requirement, and I was not in a condition to attend school. There was one teacher close to home. His name is Ramakrishna sir, and he and his wife, they were teaching me math and physics earlier. So I think they continued to teach me. I think I give a lot of credit to them because after tuition hours, they would sit down and read some very inspiring stories of people who had lived life with a disability. So because this was my first encounter to a life with a disability, I think that gave me enormous strength, and that gave me the freedom to believe that I still had a choice to design my life. I think that was the stepping stone, and it was the same person who kind of even instilled the seed of wanting to write CAT and prepare for CAT and then get into one of the IIMs. I think that's how the journey started. And while I did my 10th boards with the help of a scribe,
Yeah.
that was the very first time I ever took a scribe to write an exam. And there as well, I scored really good marks, right? About 93 or 94%.
Wow, kudos to
And
you.
yeah, and but then everybody thought, oh, maybe she wants to do science because she scored well. But honestly, for me, MBA was always there on my list, and I really didn't want to do science, and commerce was something that was interest to me.
Yeah.
Then I picked up math, economics, business studies, accountancy in my 12th, 11th, and 12th, and then moved into BCom, and then chose to join BMS College for Women, again close to home. Yeah, so that's how the journey unraveled.
So Swati, you're narrating stuff where today there are children out there are parents out there possibly who have kids with your condition, optic atrophy, and they have dreams, they have aspirations. But let's say you said a very powerful statement. You had a choice to live an independent life. So
Yes.
going into IIM Bangalore and making a choice, to enter IIM Bangalore. I'm sure you got other IIMs as well. Let me be a bit naughty there. You got 4 other IIMs, or I remember you got multiple calls. Why did you choose IIM Bangalore as the first choice? What was the reason?
So, very interestingly, I had converted calls from all 11 IMs that were prevalent at that point in time. So, this is way back in 2011. And I had a hard choice to make, right? Bangalore, of course, being a place where I was born and brought up, but it's still a tough choice when you have all the 11 IMs out there. While I was preparing for CAT, I had a bunch of volunteers who helped me prepare for CAT, right? So literally I had Zoom calls scheduled with them from morning up until the evenings, wherein we would solve mock papers. They would read up material which was not so accessible and help me prepare for CAT. So one of them happened to know Professor Rishikesh Krishnan. And then they strongly advised me that, ODS is being established at IIMB, and having accessibility needs met through a structured intervention is something very critical, because the pace at which IIM runs is really, really fast paced, right? All of us know it. And then if I had to have an additional battle to fight in terms of accessibility, that was something definitely not
So
recommended.
Swati is somebody who
So-
joined us because of the ODS, and today, friends, we are in the ODS Connect series where we talk to alumni. I just want to remind friends of the purpose of the ODS. The ODI or the ODS is an institutional body where we work with the alumni, people like Swati, to bring you these stories. But these stories are pivotal to the reason the ODS was created, to support students to thrive on campus, right? So we're going to talk about Swati's life at IIM Bangalore now. And Swati, tell us a little bit about the life at IIM Bangalore, along with the pace of the bullet train. How was your network? So everybody says that we come to IIM Bangalore because our network is our net worth, but or the other way around. Our net worth is our network. But today you've developed friends, you've developed associations on campus. You have a lot of your friends watching you from your batch, but you have a lot of professors who would have also played a big role, and the staff from the ODS. So let's talk a little bit about ODS to begin with, and then the role of professors, and if any, of your peers are listening, you could tell us a bit more about how they contributed to your journey on campus. How was life at IIM Bangalore?
I think life at IIM happens to be the most precious moments of life, right? Those 2 years are something very close to heart, and I definitely call it one of the best phases of life. Of course, it wasn't easy, but at the same time, it was a beautiful journey that helped me shape who I am today. Talking about ODS, I think after joining IIM, I think I learned a lot more about disability, rights of persons with disability, what accessibility meant, and how, as an organization, we make accommodations. So I did go through a reasonable accommodation assessment, wherein I did mention that I needed a screen reader, and then I needed my study material to be provided in soft copy format. So those were the days when we didn't really have access to a lot of soft copy material online, be it Kindle or otherwise, and books had to be physical, textbooks had to be scanned, and then you run an OCR around it to kind of convert the image into readable text, and that takes a hell lot of characters that are not appropriate, and you need someone to kind of clean it up.
Yeah.
So it's a huge process that was involved.
Yeah.
So I think ODS did ensure that I had that.
Who from ODS helped you? Because you said a lot about today IIM Bangalore providing that, but the ODS is a body. But were there any particular professors?
I think at that point in time, it was Professor Rishikesh Krishnan who was chairing ODS.
All right.
And then we also had coordinators initially. We had Nimisha, and then we had Kushbu join in.
Yeah.
I think all of them have played a pivotal role in helping me get my material. I still remember, right? I had this one path very well memorized from my hostel K block up until the C blocks. There was a photocopying machine there. So that also was kind of doubled up to do the scanning work. So I literally had to, after classes, run up there and say, okay, this is the material I need for tomorrow. But yeah, it does take a lead time to do all of this process. After some time, we said, okay, let's get the material, sometimes without proofreading as well. So it wasn't easy, but at the same time, I think that was the best that could be done at that point in time.
Because IIM has so many courses, electives, and we're going to talk a little bit about Swati's career today. She's in a human resource field where, in those days, friends, let me remind you, and today IIM is still the preferred consulting or the finance or operations strategy. But Swati has been somebody who's broken ground in human resources. So were there any professors who really, helped you, or, tell us about your journey on campus and how the teaching, methodology was, and how did professors accept you? Was there awareness that they had in terms of your disability? Walk us through that experience.
I do think there were some trainings that were done for the faculty and the staff in IIM. I think they were made aware of the reasonable needs that we had, and I think all the professors were very kind and helpful. So I still remember Professor Ramya Ranganathan. I always wanted to move into the space of HR, and I was looking forward to electives in the space of HR, right? Of course, they are limited at IIM, but I tried and picked up as many as I could. There were some offered by Professor Saurabh Mukherjee as well. And then I did a lot of marketing courses, Professor Vaila, Professor Sheshadri, and then Professor Ramesh. I think some of the very coveted courses in marketing. And all of these professors were very supportive. I mean, they ensured that I mean, it was not like an extra favor that someone would do, right? But at the same time, creating that level space to feel included, I think that goes a huge way. Sometimes you're just showing in a graph and then says, okay, this is moving up, and you're wondering what's moving up. So yeah, and that's when you really need a professor to be sensible. And at the same time, I was also offered support by tutors. So tutors were the current FPM students at that point in time, who would offer a few hours, who would come up and help me go through graphs and quantitative stuff, which I could not understand in class because I could not see what was happening on the board, right? So one mention I want to make is Sirish, who is now a professor at IIM Trichy. I think he's played a very he's made a tremendous contribution in terms of helping me understand studies and building my confidence and all of it.
From the strategy area?
Yes.
I was also benefited.
Operations, I think.
Operations, yes. I think so. I was also benefited. I'm aware of his caliber.
Sirish Gowda.
Sirish Gowda, yes. Friends, today Swati has walked us through her journey. I'm sure you're inspired in terms of her life at IIM Bangalore. Today, most of the students, we are stronger because of people like Swati who've collaborated with stars at IIM Bangalore, which is the alumni group for students with special needs or disabilities. But let's talk about life after IIM Bangalore. Swati got placed at IBM as a consultant. Well, it's a dream come true for most of us, but she chose the field of human resources. She worked with companies earlier like Indigene, and is currently working with Dr. Reddy's in this field of HR. She's done talent management. She's worked in organization development. She's also done. She's working with well-being, reward and analytics, and she's been a HRBP. So let's talk about a little bit of her background in HR, and why would somebody choose that shift in terms of human resources? What is important about human resources that it makes it a rewarding career? So Swati, tell us your journey. Why did you walk away from? Was it always that you choose a career in HR? Was that your dream? How did you nurture that dream and today reach where you are?
Somehow for me, a lot of meaning and purpose is derived when I see others around me also develop. And I believe HR is that enabling space which helps bring out the best in the people, right? And this very closely aligns with Professor Ranganathan's work also, where she talks about work and what work does to us. So in that context, I think I had the confidence to be different, and there was some inkling in my heart which always told me HR is the space I want to be. But that said, I was still a fresher when I joined IIM Bangalore. And, there's this peer pressure or whatever I took into me, wherein people say, okay, why HR? And then, are you sure? And then maybe you want to narrow down your options and all of these, right? And then I said, okay, let me try elsewhere as well. So I did my summers also with Nokia in the space of operations. And then again IBM. I think I was very lucky to be placed on the first day of placements always, right after finance, because I didn't want to get into any of the finance jobs, so not Daisy, but after that I would just get very immediately placed. So I've never struggled for placements per se. And then IBM, it was a consulting role for about 2.5 years. And every time, while I was a very good performer there as well, I've done pretty well, had some of the best managers. And there also I was part of Enablers, which was a employee resource group. So there as well, I was contributing quite well as a core committee member. So I did a lot of interventions in the space of diversity as well. But and then I wanted to move into HR. So that's when Indegene happened. So Indegene was a company with less than 1,000 employees at that point in time, and they were growing, and a very entrepreneurial-led, founder-led company, and something that really aligns with my values. So I enjoyed my stint there because I felt I was given a free hand to learn, to explore, to share ideas. So I had the opportunity to really dabble across the spectrum of HR, right? Be it talent management or HR policies, compliance, a bit of talent branding, and then organizational development, learning. And you name it, I think I did.
Swati, I'm compelled to ask this question. I'm compelled to ask this question because you are today talking about inclusion at the workplace. You're talking about inclusion as a value. You're talking about inclusion that everyone should believe in. But I don't know, but because you've been in leadership positions, you've dealt with managers, senior managers, you're talking about leadership support. There are a lot of leaders listening to this conversation at the moment. So how was it for, your managers nurturing somebody like you? I mean, I'm sure that, many of them are not trained on inclusion and handling an employee with disability. Were there any messages that you want to give managers or leaders listening in about inclusion and, possibly how should a manager deal with somebody like us?
Absolutely. I think even Dr. Reddy's, my stint has been great. I have an opportunity to work with some of the fantastic, brilliant minds as well. So, and my choice to move into Dr. Reddy's again was just to make sure that am I comfortable to move out of my comfort zone, right? So, and then can I work in a bigger organization, right? So, I think 3 key challenges I often associate when it comes to inclusion, especially from a career standpoint. Firstly, having that manager who kind of trusts you for your abilities and is willing to invest in you. I think finding that manager is a huge win, right? So that itself is a fantastic win. I remember one of my managers telling me that, I have made process considerations sometimes for you, but never quality-wise, right? So he says the demand I have in terms of work is equal to anybody else. So I think it's important to find such managers. And secondly, I think it has, of course, taken time because everybody learns on the go. And then I've always found my managers tell me that I'm a valuable asset to the team. But that said, I think the bigger challenge you see is when it comes in terms of accessibility, right? Every organization is in its own journey to accessibility and inclusion, and there's no one formula that kind of fits in for all, and you say, okay, this is the destination and you're done here, right? So that said, I think it's very important that, for us, as employees we understand, number one, it's not an IIM. So now you can't start demanding that this is not accessible, that is not accessible. So you just learn to come in terms with the world and say, yes, things may or may not be accessible, but that can never be an excuse for your performance, right?
Right.
So now you're going to be open enough to also contribute, to journey together, and to help the organization develop the accessibility needs. So what's more important is to is for every this is something I want to share for all my colleagues out there who are with disability and who are looking out for jobs. It does help to very openly talk about your disability right at the interview, because that helps you gauge the readiness of the team, your prospective team. So that acceptance is important, and at the same time a willingness to kind of explore and find the solutions together. I think that's going to be very, very critical.
So talk us through, because you said accessibility, and India is changing, right? And
Yeah.
You've represented India at the United Nations, right? So tell us the year and tell us what the event was about, and how were you a role model for India? You were selected to represent
Yes.
India. So talk us through that.
So this was way back in 2015 while I was with IBM. So I had an invite to represent India. So this was in the 8th convention on rights of persons with disability. I had the opportunity to be a panelist to talk about accessible procurement, right? Because all of us, so this was way back, right? At least 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was not that all softwares were accessible, all online content were accessible.
Yeah.
So that was the time when WCAG guidelines were out.
Yeah.
And and it was not that all
So friends, for your,
products.
sorry to interrupt you, but WCG are the web content guidelines for developing accessible software. Today there are a lot of job portals, there are a lot of avenues where persons with disabilities are shopping, where there are grievance mechanisms everywhere, but the WCAG guidelines make it easy in terms of a person with disability to look at content in an accessible way. Swati, please go on.
Sure, that was my tiny contribution in terms of advocacy to help, make accessible procurement mandatory, because you needed a pull factor, right? When organizations ask the vendor for accessibility, that's when the vendors are also motivated to make their products accessible.
Right.
So I think that was all about you.
You're brilliant. People talk about hiring persons with disabilities, making business sense, and you're Swati, a leader in the HR space, an IIM graduate who's shared her journey with all of us. Now let's talk about stars at IIM Bangalore. Let's talk about us, Swati. We have developed a 250 member plus community of persons with disabilities. There's Khushbu, there's Rajalakshmi ma'am. There are a lot of chairs, Anil Suraj. There are professors who've dealt with, supported students over the whole period, right?
Yes.
Professor Srini Rangan,
Yes.
I hope I'm not forgetting names, but broadly, we've come together to support. Mostly we get involved with mentorship, but on that topic, how is it that you want to grow? You have contributed as a mentor, but you mentioned panel discussion. So, are you game in terms of contributing to workshops for students with disabilities in the HR space? We could do a lot more in terms of incoming students today, where as stars we want to support them. So, what's your vision in terms of how you want to give back to IIMB and encourage students like you to be the best and thrive?
No, I think absolutely. I think that's what else to ask for than giving back, right? So all of us definitely want to share our learnings. So I've been fortunate to mentor some of the students who came in after me.
Yeah.
I think Professor Rajalakshmi also, I've interacted with her, and she's brilliant, and she was very supportive in the way we wanted to engage with the students and everything.
Yes.
And workshops is the best thing, right? So
Yeah.
I think those are fantastic.
So let me share a good news with you. British Telecom has given an internship for one of our stars at IIM Bangalore, students with disabilities this year, a PGP'1, who's got an internship in the field of HR.
That's
so
amazing.
we've broken pathways.
That's amazing.
Yeah. On that high note, friends, the ODI Connect series will be live soon. Swati will be, somebody whom you've heard, and there are others who are giving their stories as well. But it is not without the contribution of IIM Bangalore. It's not without the contribution of friends, family, colleagues, and society at large. If I were to call out one message from this whole interaction, Swati, where you want to put it in a few lines in terms of why people should invest in hiring retaining and growing talent with disabilities? Put it out there.
Before we close, I do want to make a mention of my spouse and my son. I think they played a crucial role in helping me be what I am today. I think they've been an energy for life. And that said, talking about disability again, I just want to tell out to the students out there or anybody with a disability that accept your disability but never let it limit you. So that's what I would want to say. And to the people who are hiring out there, I would definitely want to say that this is a niche talent that you would find. And let's understand that everybody is human first, so everybody come with their own flaws. But that said, I think there's merit in looking at the strengths that someone brings to the table, and we've got to give an opportunity. I think that's going to be very, very critical at the onset. And again, growth, right? So many organizations have a target to hire people, but what after you hire, right? Like anybody else, a very, very integrated, a very strong development mechanism is required, right? So in terms of giving them opportunities to grow internally, whether vertically or laterally, right? So I think that's going to be very crucial. So I would want to put out there for hiring managers to also take a more long-termish view in terms of how you would enable career for people with disability. But otherwise, I think than way back, I think organizations have made a lot of progress today. And I think today companies are more open and you don't need to really explain to someone what a disability is or what accessibility is.
Yes.
I think we've moved away from that era. I think now it's more about seeing more people with disability holding on leadership roles at senior levels, right? So we've kind of made that venture into the mid-managerial role very comfortable now. I think for me the aspiration is to be able to see more people with disability holding steering roles in organizations.
Thank you, Swati, for your
Thank
time.
you, Mike.
And it's been a pleasure. We've been friends for almost over a decade, and it's an honor to interview you. Thank you.
Absolutely, Mike. I've looked at you as a role model while I joined IIM. So it's amazing to sit down and chat up with you today.
Lovely. Thank you, friends. Thank you all.